Help me to reach 2,000 subscribers. The evening began in the softest, most harmless way, the kind of night no one expects to remember years later. A casual dinner surrounded by familiar faces, light chatter floating around like music, glasses touching, people smiling. Everything felt effortless, warm, and safe. Daniel, my husband, sat beside me with his usual calm presence. He was never the center of attention at gatherings. Instead, he drew people in with quiet dignity, speaking only when needed, listening more than anyone else. I used to admire that about him, the patience in his eyes, the way he never seemed shaken or eager to impress. Somewhere along the road, though, I foolishly began confusing his silence with weakness. That night, pride slipped into my bones like poison. Daniel was telling a simple, funny story about misplacing his keys in the morning and blaming our cat. It was meant to bring smiles, a soft little anecdote to lighten the table. Instead of laughing with him, I decided to turn him into the joke. You should have seen him, I chimed in, grinning as everyone leaned closer. I continued, exaggerating every detail. How he had searched every room, how he had looked at the cat like she was some criminal mastermind. Laughter rose around me, loud and easy, and I rode it like a wave I never wanted to leave. I mimicked his voice, acted out his frustration, and even casually joked that he would fall apart without me. The louder the laughter became, the bolder I felt. When I finally glanced at Daniel, he had a smile on his face. Not a real one. It was the kind that sits stiff and quiet, hiding something sharp beneath. Even a few of his colleagues joined the teasing, and my best friend Mia chuckled and jokingly added, "Men really do need supervision." I laughed the hardest, completely oblivious to what I was destroying with every word. When the laughter faded, Daniel lifted his glass. His voice was steady, almost gentle, yet it carried enough weight to bring the entire table to a hush. "You are probably right," he said calmly. "I do need supervision. Especially when I am trying to run 3 companies and keep a roof over our heads." Silence slammed down like a wall. He had not raised his voice. He had not tried to humiliate me. The truth in his tone hurt far more than anger ever could. My smile slipped away. I could feel the shift at the table. His colleagues exchanged surprised glances, whispering among themselves. 3 companies. I felt something twist inside my stomach. Daniel never bragged about his success. I suddenly realized I had never bothered to see the weight he carried every day, the quiet battles he never spoke of. He continued, voice calm and composed. "It is interesting how quiet people are often seen as clueless. Sometimes silence simply means focus." No one moved. Even the waiter who had approached stepped back quietly. Daniel took a slow sip of his drink, then looked directly at me. "You have always loved making people laugh, Emily," he said softly. "I only wish you did not need to do it by tearing me down." The room blurred. My cheeks burned, my throat closed. A moment ago, the attention felt thrilling. Now it suffocated me. I forced out a small laugh, desperate to clear the tension. No one joined. The rest of the night stretched painfully long. Everyone listened when Daniel spoke, and I sat silent, drowning in the ache I had created. I had mocked the one person who had never once made me feel small. And when I really saw him, truly saw him, I noticed it. Not anger. Not arrogance. Just exhaustion. A quiet break in his spirit, like something inside him had finally cracked. When we reached home, silence settled between us so heavily it felt like walls were closing in. I tried to apologize, stumbling over my words. "Dan, I was only joking. I did not mean to hurt you." He did not raise his voice. He simply said, "I know. But sometimes what we do not mean says more than what we say on purpose." Then he walked away, leaving me alone with my shame. That night I cried, replaying those minutes over and over. The laughter, his face, the moment the room froze. 4 days afterward, he remained gentle yet distant. Polite, but unreachable. The warmth was gone, replaced by something fragile and cold. I finally understood that silence does not always equal peace. Sometimes silence is pain without words. Weeks later, Mia called. Her tone was soft, almost guilty. "Emily," she said, I did not realize Daniel was that accomplished. You are fortunate. He is a good man. I already knew. I just hated that it took publicly humiliating him for me to open my eyes. So I started again in small ways. Cooking his favorite meals, writing little notes, thinking before I spoke. Slowly, he began to soften, the space between us warming again. Yet I never forgot that night. It carved a lesson into me forever. Respect is not only shown behind closed doors. It is proven in front of others. Every time I look at Daniel now, I hear his calm voice at that table, see the quiet fire in his eyes, and remember his words. Sometimes silence simply means focus. He never yelled. He never tried to embarrass me in return. He simply showed me that real strength does not shout. Real strength stands tall without crushing anyone. That night, he did not break me. He taught me. And I have never forgotten.